Inside Story Uganda, real source of political updates. Inside Story Uganda.
Let us change the luncheon from Entebbe to the National Conference Center. Nategera nti akera against that Museveni can change the luncheon. He invited these people to go ubalugudo baluwambi. Nategera nti unakula
intelligence eriruda okufuna ebintu ebyo bakole bisubwana
and President Museveni
kubitwala mawulire
Museveni tebamutegeera. Mu political science tulina abantu babika bina. Tulina a realist like me. Nti Museveni tasobola kukkiriza Besigye kumukyusiza venue. Museveni tasobola kukkiriza nti Bobi Wine bano beyawangudde nti beyawangudde bajja mukola ki nti kubanga omukazi omwala gobadde oyagala bamuwasiza ogenda otabangula embaga bakubira mu kidaala.
Togendeyo afazali.
I am a realist. I can detect, predict anybody's reaction. Nti oya mukazi akero yagamba president tive kiwuke. President Museveni somebody told me nti bagala kundaganga simanyi sipayi wa Rwanda nkasajja gwe mwebusajja mwe muwunya mwenjaba paka kabuli basajja mwenjaba kuba paka kabuli. No negotiations. If you have 5 billion, put it on my account. No negotiation. Tell meeting. Kakati nkugamba. Gondi President Museveni bamubuulira Besigye yali bweru nakola omukolo tilwakomawo mu Uganda nolwalayira because Besigye was overestimating himself. Besigye harbors personal vendetta against Museveni. Kakati Besigye yali bweru n'agamba nti bamuleke bweru abantu beegogonge. Museveni was told, I was not far from him, but Kenya Airways has refused to bring Museveni to bring Besigye to Entebbe. Why? Because of functions. Museveni said, we fought for freedom. There is no Ugandan who should remain outside because of a function in Uganda. Let Kenyan Airways bring Besigye, check out and go home. Besigye violated Museveni's hospitality, goodwill. Yajja ne Winnie balimira kubayita ababiri. He had hired thugs. When the president was invited to address a meeting of senior executives in Nairobi, this is when Besigye declared himself a blind man. Ero omukolo gwa Museveni gufe. Besigye carried personal vendetta against Museveni. Tugenda okutuuka ye Kenya nga bagamba Museveni kuisa. Omanye ebyo ebikundi byebookya. Wafula had gone earlier ne bagula airtime. Museveni kuisha nabiraba ku TV. President when Museveni arrived in Nairobi n'agenda mu hotel, the same hotel where he had gone to reconcile the warring parties in Kenya. Museveni was the first one to go to Kenya when Kenya was burning, when everybody was watching. Museveni twagenda na mu cargo plane. Museveni nga alina okugulu kumu kuli mu ngatto ndala n'okugulu kumu kuli mu ngatto. To save Kenya from burning. President Museveni established a state house in the hotel I've forgotten. Kati taina minister n'oku I appointed myself Minister of Foreign Affairs, and I addressed a press conference in Nairobi. I addressed a press conference in Nairobi as Minister of Foreign Affairs. Nebakomawo wano nebanteesako mu cabinet. Museveni abagamba leave him alone. They appointed an official spokesman nga banwanyisa. Kakati President namulabanga ali yekka. Our ministers must be like wheelbarrows. We went to Sri Lanka. Nga aline muchala we. Yes, I'm not signing a Dagano, and I don't know whether they are valid. We did not have a minister in Sri Lanka.
No can signing it.
Era President Museveni yayingira ekimotoka baali bakolera abavubuka one of the projects. Museveni yayingira ekimotoka ekifu abavubuka bayola ebimotoka ebikadde bikolamu empya. A project bayina nabuuza Kanana Sani yali gundi waffe yali nga ambassador waffe nemubuuza Museveni bamuwa project y'abavubuka. But because I was not accompanied by anybody, why? People set out nalema yali ebyo tabitegeera amanyi byantini kusumba chapati ani amanyi chapati yakulira mugundi mu kantindi z'amagye anti kinkubuulira kati omuleeta abeete sekretale eyatundanga chapati sumbusa wamma eyerimu omunnyo oba terimu engano eweze kati Museveni twavudde alone tewaliwo minisita mulala nga protocol zetusaininga zonna. I don't know whether they were valid. President bamuteeka mu kimotoka ekifu. I protested. Museveni being what he is bakimuteekamu n'akitambuliramu. Kakati nkugamba Sri Lanka. Kakati nkugamba nti what is happening now bw'ogamba abantu ti UPDF ezudde tewaliwo abaagala okusabotaginga. Kakati what will be the reaction of UPDF? They will deploy. Tukita reverse psychology.
And deploying means another.
When UPDF deploys heavily in the city, omugole awasize omukazi aliko emundu abate yamuba tubakubireko mu ngalo. But this young woman rang me. Yes. The woman rang me, the spokesperson of UPDF. And I said, I don't know you. But what I'm telling you, why don't you consult me? Because I'm a expert. Sichakola mu government. Pay me money. A retainer. Sirida mu government ya Museveni. I can work in the council toilet. Nesirida mu bajozi bali. Obwana obujozi si. Nabukunia komutene bukunyalako. Kubanga emba nkola mu city council toilet. Bwemba nina toilet paper n'amazzi. Apama yagenda. Afuka yagenda. Nebyono omukono akunyalako. Bano bonna ne bakunyalako. A brain man like me. Apa mu state house. Tumukubya mawulire. Tumukoze sirida mukola namu. Never in my life. Nswere mpunu. Bali ndebera kaseko ka musasa. Yes, kakati nkugamba ofono tamanyi kyayogera. Because Kadaga can take the journalist to Matuga. Kadaga's intervention helped us to get sanitation. When you say a chua, there was no chua at that time. The only chua at that time was sanitizers.
It was just a remedy.
Yes, Kadaga's intervention created the carnival. Two, for future, Kadaga's intervention to take this man in Nazir, Professor Nazir, has helped us to get a factory in Matuga. If I want to embarrass I just take a journalist to Baba Gula Tibaja Kuyogera. Kadenzi Yankwata, Kalolo Kulutu. Kalolo Kulutu disappointed me because I had a lot of respect for Kalolo Kulutu. And what Kalolo Kulutu doesn't know, she has written books. The moment you write books, then you must maintain your books. Otherwise, they can be withdrawn from the books of service. Kalolo Kulutu yagambi. To confirm one of the signs that Uganda is peaceful to the refugees, in 1979, at the liberation, many Ugandans from West Nile fled to Sudan, where was fierce fighting. Could the Akulutros of Sudan have said that Sudan is peaceful because Ugandans are running towards us?
No.
When Museveni took over in 1986, 500,000 Ugandans fled to southern Sudan, where there was a fierce fighting. What Kalolo Kurutu doesn't understand is that he's comparing southern Sudan to our country. Those who flee from Uganda, if you use refugees, how many refugees are we having from Kenya now? In 2007, many Kenyans fled to Uganda, near the border. If you ask today, how many Rwandese are fleeing to Uganda now? Kagame closes the border. How many Tanzanian refugees do we have in Uganda at Mutukula? So if you use
as a
yardstick for refugees, you hit yourself. I wouldn't expect a woman. Yes. Are you comparing? Because a man can run from a burning house to a cannibal's house. A woman who is being battered by his wife, by her husband to death, can enter into a bachelor's is to save life now. Not what happens. Kakati unayo kurutu ya kubidwa. Kakati netuja tusanga Pastor Senyonga. Pastor Senyonga kubaba pastor bane. Ne Pastor Senyonga. Of all of the pastors we have in Uganda, Pastor Senyonga was arrested for molesting a girl. We are told na ye kunyonyi. Tewali pastor wa Uganda yali achiko. Alaba bisambi bya mwana natandiko bitigatiga.
Yandibadde asirikadda.
Pastor Senyonga does not have any moral authority to attack any pastor in Uganda. Pastor Senyonga was distributing relief ebifanagana nebya National Task Force. When the National Task Force closed, is he distributing relief? He must be arrested by stealing from the National Task Force. Lie, Pastor Senyonga, lie like an envelope. Don't provoke other pastors. You have moral questions, more than other. Senyonga is a man who wouldn't stand If we check your miracles, are they miracles? Ziriwa. Atubuliayo miracle emuti jino. Nakolayo. Nakona ivinga nabali abamuwe mmere to chase me. In fact, I had directed the local defense man to shoot me. If Senyonga doesn't know, I can demolish Senyonga in a day. Senyonga, don't attack other pastors. You stink more. Bwabera ne president yeyito wechitalo. Waliwo ba pastor abali awo, ba pastor abayina bebatta. You give evidence. Because Senyonga will be arrested for concealing evidence. If you know pastors who are killing people, why report them? You are just being used like a kakandi. You see these people, once they use it, they drop you. Katibaga and they were Senyonga. Ngabara was and Senyonga can Nalinja Basenyonga Mut. Ninja Bakadisa, Katakalisa, Namutestins, Namukubiresim. Kadisa Naros and Jakudakuchi, causing Jakakumani Obesim Yekola. Kadisa, you never where you get. I will never come back to your station. Yet we never know Busiru. But a single went Nembu Bani, we ingira Nembu Bani, we ingira Nembu Bani. Mirundi. When Nkugambye, the government of Museveni says the Mujikotiram. I can work in a city council toilet, public toilet, because if I have a toilet paper and the water, where would the qual over? Nay, na kujoga, Omukona kujoga, Bonoboy kujoga, Toya person kujoga, Nakademana kujoga Yakola Mukan, Naruso na kujoga, Nani na kujoga. Wait for good, Kakati in Kubudia Negamba. All of these ones have affected government delivery. nti omuliro gw'ebuddo nabagambye MISO has all the technologies. I will reserve this important information I have for the future government. All of those people who are burning schools, all of those people are killing people for organs will be arrested.
Future government tujirine mubanga kiwangamba wano sengene nebacha yetereza bili abiri mwenenze butasuka.
Andi nkubulire omu kubali bagala obusika mujimbi atagala
bili abiri mwenawo
tagate nkubulire ne kamba
tuizofuna yawo government.
For me what is important is not the burning of schools. You are talking about Buddo. I had children in Buddo, not this one. Bwange was gutted by fire. Amasiro were gutted by fire. Ministry of Finance headquarters gutted by fire.
There is fire everywhere.
Can Yakulu give us culprits? Even the suspect, she does not have. The government instituted a commission. The government instituted a commission of inquiry. Its report was never released. The leading counsel was Damiano Lubega. Akulu, Museveni's daughter Akulu, has never produced a single culprit.
Office.
That's what I'm wondering. In his, because he is sitting. Yes, one of them will be a witness. I'm working for future government by gathering information. Most of these people who are committing these crimes will Lumu died assassinated Lumu in 1978. In 1986, this government instituted an inquiry, a probe into human rights violations from 1962 to 86 when it came to power. Paulo Mwanga, when Paulo Mwanga was appearing before this probe, he exchanged a bit words with Nagenda. But Paulo Bwange in his conclusion is saying, if a similar probe is instituted against this government, it will come up with startling evidence. Who could expect that under Museveni's government, the president, when he came in 1986, he said, a needle could not disappear in our family. If a needle disappeared, we could turn mattresses. How can you put people in cupboards? How can a person disappear?
24 hours.
But we see a minister of internal affairs who is exchanging the filing on who are in custody, released, and who have disappeared. Are you making a balance sheet? A balance sheet credit and credit? You are talking about human beings who have let Museveni down. Amin did not kill people for export. Obete did not kill people for export. We have certain people who are facing criminal charges on Zoom by the International Criminal Court for killing Ugandans and exporting their.
And they are here in Kampala. It is as if nothing is happening.
Politics bwali. Eranze mu byafaayo byensi have come up in political science, have come up with the two statements. Statements ziri satu. Kirunda Chivejinya in his book. Kirunda Chivejinya in his book, The Crisis of No Confidence. He narrates how Kyabazinga Nadiope helped Obote to consolidate himself. He even ferried 9 legislative UPC delegates to Mbale to age out Kakonge. to elect Ibingira. Obote, UPC people wanted Nadiope to be vice president. But Obote wanted to demolish Buganda Kingdom. That's why he lowered Mutesa to become. Era nabaganti oli ekitibwa kya Buganda kigamba asanira afuge Uganda yonna naffe nga tumwesiga.
Uganda yonna
toyinza gamba asanira afuge Buganda yonna no bakikyusa after humiliation. It was their urge, the ambition that their kabaka ulululu Mutesa yaganti nga naffe bwe tumwesiga. Museveni si asoose okuteekawo bakabaka. Mutesa yagamba ti if you relate federal kabaka, let all of those areas create kabakas. It was Mutesa's suggestion. Kakati nkugamba nti Obote abantu bonna ba UPC baali balinze Nadiope okubeera pulezidenti wa Uganda. Obote n'alangira erinnya lya Mutesa. Nechon, when you go to the records, Nechon stood up and protested, said they cannot elect this man. He was fighting Uganda's independence. Now that
who was fighting Uganda's
Mutesa, now that you have brought one name and not vote, Baganda did not know how could John, a brother to Obote, reject it, said, I'm going to abstain. We wamala okulonda Obote Nadiope yagenda Obote namukwata ebitoki. You promised me vice president, where is it? The president, where is it? Obote under pressure nga amubimbye ejovu. Obote created the post of vice president to Nadiope. Nadiope yakwata Obote ebitoki mu nabimbye Obote ejovu. Nadiope omusoga ngabo abasoga tebalakaleta abo bakadaga omusoga Nadiope yakwata Obote ebitogi mu parliament namuga ekifo kyange okigabye nali ko Obote ni bamubimbye ejovu yali amutirawo
nakicreatinga
namuga I've given you the post of the vice president. Naye Kirunda Kibeji in his book, he says, Obote acted in Nadiope with the other ministers. And I said, I write in one of my books, that the only Secretary General who has not tried to usurp the powers or to undermine Museveni is Lumumba and Kirunda Kibe and Rudisa Kirunda. Obote fought to Kakonge and replaced him with Ibingira. Ibingira connived with the Mengo people in 1966 to take a power. Obote, when he sacked Ibingira, appointed Felix Onama. Felix Onama connived with Idi Amin to overthrow Obote. Rudisa Kirunda became the Secretary General of UPC. Rudisa Kirunda never connived with Mwanga to overthrow Obote. Museveni brought Mbabas. Mbabas almost took him, almost grabbed his power. The only Secretary Generals who have not tried to usurp, to undermine their bosses.
Should we assume that she's weak?
Lumumba.
Should we assume that she's weak?
We don't have a president's ambitions. Because in the communist countries, Secretary General runs the secretariat.
Is that administrative?
Then Lumumba bamukuba nekyo kikazi yatuba kikuba. Is that administrative? Okwale paper bwakuba. Lumumba zebadega siniki sintu nkubane nkutirawo. Bane nkwasa omuntu. To destroy my marriage. Kati bagenze ne bajinga ekifaananyi nga ndino n'omukazi bamuyitaani. Gundi. Mukazi watu bamuyitaani. Gundi.
Ati bawayiza bwayiza toma n'inyo bulele mutwe.
Yes.
Why is that called?
Mukazi oyo bagamba omukyayina ayagala obwagundi ayagala obwa deputy speaker. She comes from Teso. Omukazi oyo kagati twali tuva wa Kiboole nga era tenti oziraba n'ennyumba ogiraba n'enyimirira omubuuzaako bankubye nga mukutte bwenti. My marriage is in it trouble. Her marriage is in it trouble.
Now we is of Tagara. bana toli musajja wa tosagirwako
ono mukama na ubete bamwitani
ono mukyala yadinde mu train
Amongi kati oli omukyala bamwita Amongi ate Amongi ensobi gye yakoze that is my brother awo baba kuddemu baba kuwambye nze bonna kakati nkubuulize Kadaga came and visited me when I was in America. Ka president atutumyeyo nenankabirwa naye Kateregga gwe twali tugenda naye nabba sente zaffe nankabirwa yampa $1,000 bimeka to survive nali zimutwalira n'agaana ozikkiriza saamulabye ejjo gundi Musumba came to me to visit my mother. Lumumba brought a blanket to my mother. Kankunda helped my mother to survive. Yes. Kakati nze emikisa gyange gyonna ina mu bakazi saalisomye naye muganda wange nze bwe mba nkubulidde miracles zange tibana abaana tebansobola. The wife of my elder brother Sally yansomesaako mu 75 yali azze nga mina yataddewo literacy campaign tusomesa abaana ng'Nicaragua bino Museveni byakola Amini yabitandika to educate Obote n'ateekawo community centers abakadde babasomesa. Maama wa Kaseke ndewe n'ababbanka yajjanga ewaffe mu kyalo okusomesa abakadde nga my mother ubatuukirako was very influential woman. Kakati omukyalo oyo laba bwagenda Nairobi gye basomeranga secretariat n'asangayo brother wange ne bafumbirigano. Kakati brother wange amuleete wakola eki amulabe ewaka bamulabe. Nze nali nfunye marks 200 mwaka first grade yali ku 210 to tell how intelligent I was mukyalo ninge nakola amagende Tanzania. Kakati omukyala bwajja ewaka ne bamugamba nti sezala bamuyita Mirundi bamwanjulira bapalensi n'agamba naye waliwo omwana gwe nasomesaako nga bamuyita Mirundi ava wano ti aliwa. Nze am a very humble man when it comes to women. I respect them. They're like my mothers. Kakati yava bagamba nga ndi mu magendo Tanzania n'agamba mukulu wange muganda woyo mugezi nnyo mujje mu magendo asome. I was educated because of my kale amusazeewa jjajjange yawasa ku kyalo azaala kitange Sembuya mu 1918 nafa mu 1923 nensanga omuwala mu Kampala ne muwasa ngava mu family eyo era abaana bange bano babadde bakwakudde kabala kange kana akatakadda kono junior tebiba byuma byange babadde bakatudde kati nkugamba nze mbaga
njala tumalize n'ensonga ne mwani Tamale Mirundi kubanga tuyinza okubanga wadde kutuweddeko bwa cabinet njala nkubireko komanyi kola nyo projections manya nkubireko bigambo nga bisatu
no
mu cabinet
let me tell you
nawuliddeko nti kyeka mukwano gaffe Nobert Mao abika ali ku lubalaza
Museveni is reducing his cabinet to 21 and he must prepare for the consequences.
Opposition yinza kuyingira.
Why? Because a reshuffle affects 4 people. A hopeful you have dropped, the one who has been transferred from a lucrative minister to another. Bagenda bayomba. Museveni should prepare to have mitigative measures for this. He's also merging parastatals. Kakati Museveni ayina omukisa Katonda yagumuwa. Tulina a case eya organize. If Museveni appoints any minister who is facing charges of human trafficking, then he will be supporting nti naye abikola.
Mpayo bana ku kifo ky'obwa vice president.
Ekyokubiri, Museveni, this is his lab. He must have service delivery. Bwe kibanga gundi ono omukyala abadde mu energy yagamba mbu njagala gundi mulwanyisa kuba njagala maama kafi naye kakati nina mugongo kyogwo oguli kwono nkubuulidde no nze nkubuulira bagenda okuvaamu yefu Museveni appoints Kitutu yefu Museveni appoints ono mukazi wa Ministry ya Health yefu Museveni returns Kasaija and Bahati kubanga Kasaija and Bahati cannot go to World Bank. Kasaija and Bahati namanyaga ku World Bank we wanted. Kasa Museveni yakomyawo Bahati nakomyawo Kasaija nakomyawo Kitutu nakomyawo a change Museveni ministry nakwata kubanga these are the areas education tayinza gikwatako. Why? If Museveni makes changes in education ajja kuba embarasinze facility kakati kyayina okukola mu education kyayina okukola is to find out Kibenge ayina munne sikakooza Kibenge ayina munne muzeeyi omuntu ayonoonye ministry si first lady Kibenge olunaku lumu Kibenge kakati information ministry information nabakoba tagisobola. I have heard tinabakoba bagenda mu for executive director we Masaka buli site yonna gye bakolawo akakawunye nnyo akalinzi akakawunye nnyo President Museveni family ye abajononyi bali abo akakawunye nnyo nakana kayina obutubu kajagala bebononyo bwabatabo kutte naleeta kana kayina entwe naleeta kayina entwe lingalo ofuye omugati those who are being implicated abadde foreign affairs naye onkulu nnyo Museveni kukyusa mu foreign affairs goodness Honorable Kutesa wants to retire. Oyo ajja kubeera obwati kasita sista wange ayingidde naye foreign affairs kasita Museveni akomyawo Bahati n'oyo Kasaija mu World Bank waliwo ekipande mu World Bank Kasaija and Bahati wanted Kasaija and Bahati wanted heresy akazi kalina ogivaamu education oyo yakolagana nono munne okulya sente za education sikakooza Kibenge is very dangerous in education Kibenge